Hello. Good morning. How are you? Thomas Miller on the Fun Astrology Podcast, June 28th, Monday. Let's rock and roll. Well, hold on. Stop the music. The moon is void of course. We shouldn't even be here. We should be back to bed. I don't know. Do you follow the void of course that closely? I've known folks who have. I mean, they wouldn't set a meeting in the afternoon or, like a Zoom call or something, not to move anything forward if the moon was void of course. That's admirable. I now, because of us getting together on these podcasts, keep an eye on it. But, I can't get everything done as it is. So I got to keep moving and hopefully just, the universe blesses things. But it is an interesting study. And actually, one of you emailed me saying that you were very sensitive to the voids of course. I'd like to know more about that. Maybe if you could send me a speak pipe of how it shows up for you or an email. I'd love that. Oh, by the way, speaking of, thanks for all of you who responded to the Medical Questions podcast that we aired over the weekend. If you jumped off before the end, you missed a really good ending of some free stuff. But look, we are full. The bucket is full for now. Thank you so much for your responses. And I'm going to speak on behalf of Stephanie for you. I haven't talked to her since all the responses came in since the podcast, but I will be checking in today or tomorrow. And I know how much that means to her that you supported this effort. Here is somebody that has a burning fire inside to do this, has advanced up to the point of her knowledge now through her own medical conditions, and now wants to take it a big step further, and you helped her do that. So thank you very much. I feel confident and hopeful that we will be hearing a lot more from her in the future in this area. All right, let's talk about the sky above our heads today. So we're in this big void, of course, like we talked about yesterday, that will go until 1:50 this afternoon, East Coast time, when the moon ingresses Pisces. So you can kind of chill out on that Aquarian lunar energy, and you can get ready for some spiritual work, which really parlays into the chart well today. Let's circle back on the chart after we take a quick look at the rest of the week. The moon, we're going to follow tomorrow and Wednesday into Aries Wednesday evening, actually. So you have a Piscean moon all the way through Wednesday night. And again, I'm sorry for all of these are East Coast times. And even in the United States, that doesn't make total sense because the West Coast is quite a time offset. For those of you in Europe and Australia and below the equator, sorry, we can't do it all, but we get what we can. All right, now let's see. Picking up on the rest of the week, Mars opposes Saturn on Thursday. I was curious, the last Saturn opposition to Mars was June 2019. The one before that was May 29th, 2017. I'll give you one more here. The previous one to that was May 15th, 2015. So you could go back and look at May 2015, go back in the annals of your mind, the end of May, beginning of June of 2017, June 2019, and here we are again. So even some of you who are experiencing the medical astrology stuff, I've heard from a couple of you that 2018 was kind of a big period. But you could go back and see if there were any patterns during those times, obviously in the May, June, and now we're looking at one in July, so it's eking forward, May, June into July as Mars opposes Saturn. Big aspect, big aspect. And we're learning this morning, too, that President Joe Biden of the United States authorized military strikes overnight in Iraq. Now, from the Don't Bet Against Astrology department, in the United States chart, transiting Mars, this Mars that we're talking about, is at 10 degrees this morning of Leo, and that is sitting in a sextile aspect to the United States natal Saturn. Hello? And that transiting Saturn is at an exact sextile to the United States ascendant, which is in Sagittarius by the Sibley chart, and is in a 1-degree orb quincunx to the United States natal sun. There are a lot of ways you can interpret that, but just from the don't bet against astrology, there could be something happen under that kind of alignment. And then interesting, if you look at President Joe Biden's chart, he has Mars in a very powerful stellium in the 12th house, Scorpio, and that is sitting at basically a square aspect to this Mars-Saturn line in his chart. So basically, he has Saturn squaring his Mars and Mars squaring his Mars. We will talk about this more on Thursday, but let's take a look at today's chart now. Actually, a really cool loop closure, if you will, around this moon getting ready to move into Pisces later on, because there is a karmic or past or why are we here soul purpose theme to today. It begins with a big trine between Mars and the south node of the moon and Chiron. Those are the three of the triangle that compose this grand trine. Well, that just basically screams past karma, right? South node, and that's our past. That's what we bring in to resolve. And Chiron, the wounded healer, all connected to Mars in a trine. I mean, just a real quick synthesis of that is pretty easy. That Mars could be the trigger or catalyst, or wants to, if you're willing, to bust up some old karma. I mean, to me, this is the beauty of the chart saying, okay, gang, here is some energy if you'd like to take it on. That you could spend some extra time in your practice this morning, your spiritual practice, your journaling. You could go on a big hike this afternoon. Hey, the moon is void, of course, anyway. I mean, why go to work, right? Just go on a hike. see how that works for you. Yeah, don't try it. But, it's one of those things, if you had the latitude in your schedule, you could take a look at this and say, wow, I am going to open up to the possibility of that there might be something come up today that I could release, identify, ponder, that there might be some extra little bit of revelation, or that you could just open up and say, Mars, go after it, and there might be a conflict somewhere, or there might be something that is removed, just automatically. It just goes away. These are the kinds of ways that you can work with this energy. Now, for those of you who are getting into the aspects and synthesizing in this kind of way, whenever you see a grand trine, fix in your mind that there are offshooting sextiles, because you can't have this big 120-degree configuration in the chart without likely having some 60-degree offsets, and there are. So from Chiron, we have a trine over to the north node. You always will when the south node is involved. Just look for the aspect to the north node. It's a sextile back to Chiron. And also, Saturn is in a sextile with Chiron. So do you see how this just has this magnificent theme of doing karmic work to it? Now, I've always said that when Saturn is involved, we think of two sides of the coin. The karmic disciplinarian, and we also think of structure, foundation, and legacy, that which will outlive us. And I've always thought that also includes how we set up our next incarnation. Because if we set it up well with this Saturn, then we pick up on those benefits, I think, in the future. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So wherever Saturn shows up in your chart and in your life, realize that it's not just bad and onerous and odorous and everything else that we could attribute to the shadow and dark side of Saturn. It is a tough disciplinarian. It will get our attention. But once it has our attention, then we can use it to set up a legacy of what we will encounter when we come back. How cool is that? Well, get busy, because today's Saturn, Chiron, the whole karmic gang is sitting there ready to help you with something. So just open up to it instead of resisting it. That's the big key today. Wow, this went way longer than I thought. Thank you so much. Have a great Monday. I'll see you back tomorrow. Bye.